Well, hello, everyone. This is John Byrne with Poets&Quants. I'm here for a unique and exclusive fireside chat, although there's no fire, with Cindy Mccauley, who's the Executive Director of Online Degree Programs at Carnegie Mellon's Tepper School of Business. Welcome, Cindy.
Thanks so much, John. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Carnegie Mellon's Online MBA program is really, it's a misnomer in some ways because it's incredibly high touch.
Correct.
You have more face-to-face sessions than any other blended program out there in the world.
Yes.
One of the most unique things about it to me is that the admission requirements are high enough so that if someone wanted to transfer into one of your other MBA programs, they in fact can.
That's correct.
And that is, as far as I know, completely unique. I don't believe there's another school in the world that allows that easy flow in and out of a program, because also for your executive MBA program, right?
We don't have an executive MBA.
Oh, you don't have an executive. You have an evening program?
At this point, so we have an evening program called PT Flex. They look very similar to our online program when we start.
Yeah. And you get a lot of people who would otherwise have gone to an executive MBA program in that program, right?
In our program, in the online MBA. The Flex and the online MBA are actually pretty similar from a demographic standpoint.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, tell me a little bit about the program, how it started, because it's, as are many online MBA programs, is relatively new. Mm-hmm. I think you've graduated how many classes? 2, 3?
So we're just starting our 6th cohort. So it's a 3-year program. So we've had 3 graduating classes.
Right. That's what I thought. Okay. So give us the scope of the program.
Sure. So as you mentioned, we're really a blended program. So we call it the part-time online hybrid MBA program. And the hybrid piece is really the part that makes our program very special. So we have what are called access weekends. So we're on a mini semester basis. So half a semester, about 6 weeks is how the classes run. At the beginning of every mini, all the students come to campus for a long weekend, essentially Friday to Sunday. Friday is a series of co-curricular activities, workshops. We bring in speakers from across campus. We try to expose them to people from Carnegie Mellon. We just had a speaker, Ruslan Saladin-Tov. He's a machine learning expert from computer science. He just spoke. We have people from our leadership center speak. We've got workshops from the career center, lots of things happening that on Friday. And then on Saturday and Sunday, the students actually start each of their classes in person. So they're sitting in the room with the faculty, with their colleagues, taking their classes every weekend. And then as you can imagine, there's some social time, Friday night, Saturday night. You get 200 students together with their closest friends. And we usually do big dinners, and we have a big happy hour, kind of a social, which is a Tepper tradition called beers. And so it really creates a very unique opportunity for students to get that in-person experience, but they only have to come in every 6 weeks for 3 days, and then they fly back to wherever they're from, and then they can take their classes weekly live online. So after the access weekends, our classes meet weekly in a regular class format. They meet each week at the same time with the faculty, and it meets like any other class would weekly. And then of course there's asynchronous content that they watch before the weekly classes. The lectures are often recorded, and then when they get in the class with the faculty member, it's a time to really discuss and apply, work through problems. So it is a really unique model, and I think it is what, as you said earlier, what makes us very special. Our students love it. The access weekends are a wonderful experience. I think sometimes people worry about an online program that they're going to miss out on the network. They're going to miss out on building those relationships. And my students would tell you that is the furthest from the truth. They are so tight and so quickly, because they just imagine you're doing a 3-day weekend with your friends every 6 weeks. So they get it for 3 years. So they really get to know each other. And so I think it creates just a really wonderful environment for the students.
In fact, I think that 60% of the class time is actually face-to-face. Is that right?
Something like that. I don't have that number in front of me, but it's pretty high. Yeah.
That's what I vaguely recall when I've written about the program.
Right. That's right. It's pretty high.
I'm in the inner part of my memory here. So
yeah, that's right.
Which really makes it unusual, because, most online MBA programs, if they have any in-residence sessions at all, it's a weekend. It might
Correct.
be 2 weekends.
Right.
So this is truly a hybrid, sort of a combination between getting online learning when you're not there, and then this intense experience when you do come from the Friday through Sunday.
Correct.
And over the course of the program, there are how many access weekends?
16.
16, which is a lot.
So it's a lot. It's a big
Where do you
commitment.
stay? Do people stay in hotels, or what do they do?
We cover all of that. So when they come in, everybody's in the same hotel. We cover the hotel rooms. We cover transportation while they're there. So buses back and forth to campus. We cover all the meals. It's very much, you mentioned like an executive program. It's a similar, like it looks like that. So they come in. So again, everybody's in the same place. They all are together the whole time. I mean, I joke about when we plan these dinners, we're a wedding. We're taking 150 people to dinner. Right.
Plus cocktail hours.
That's right. Exactly.
Let's not forget the liquor.
Exactly.
What's the size of a cohort that normally comes in?
Sure. So last year's cohort was 70. This year we're looking at about 100.
Wow. Why the increase from 70 to 100?
Yeah, I think that it has to, I would personally think, I mean, I'd love to say it's because we've got this awesome program and I think that's a component of it. But I also think this year in particular, coronavirus has made people rethink their plans. And so I think people are thinking, we've always historically, we don't compete with just online programs. We've historically had a lot of students who are looking at full-time programs or us. And then they're kind of deciding between, gosh, do I want to quit my job and go back to school? Or is this a pretty quality program that I can keep my job with? And so I think we've probably captured a group that were maybe originally thinking full-time, but now is maybe not the time to quit your job and go back to school. And so I think that we've captured a fair number of students who are saying, hey, this is a really good option. It has this great community piece that is very similar to a full-time program. You can build that network and that connection. And plus just the brand and the education. So I would say that's probably the biggest reason.
Tell me a little bit more about your class profile. What percentage are women? Do you have a lot of engineers in your class? What's the average age and the range? And you do require a GMAT or a GRE, so you might want to give us the class averages.
Sure. So our profile is actually fairly similar to a full-time population here at CMU. Our average years of work experience is 6.1 exactly, and the full-time is 5.7. This is last year's numbers. This year's numbers aren't finalized yet because obviously we're still finalizing all that for this year, but they're pretty similar. We had last year 30% women. And we do have a fairly large percentage of engineers. I think last year it was around 40%. And that's really the draw of Carnegie Mellon.
Totally.
Carnegie Mellon, software engineers and computer science. That's a big draw for CMU. Yeah. Our GMAT last year was 670. I believe the full-time was just a little higher than that, maybe 685, something like that. So we're pretty similar. And I think that's everything that you just asked. So the profile
do you draw international applicants and students?
Not international to the Online MBA program. The challenge with international students in the Online MBA are the access weekends because we cannot provide a visa to get into the country for the access weekend. So we do have international students who are living in the US, maybe they're working on an H-1B, so they're already in the US. So we have some percentage, maybe a 15%, no more than 15%, 10 to 15 that are citizens of another country but working in the US on an H-1B.
Right. Now, if people haven't figured this out already, and they should have, we're just going to address it. This is no MBA light program. In fact, it takes 3 years to complete it, right?
That's right.
And that is not usually a long period of time for any MBA program, whether it even be an executive MBA program, an online MBA program, or a full-time MBA program. I mean, on some level, it's the longest legitimate, serious MBA program that exists on the planet, right?
How about that? Yeah.
How come? I mean, you must be packing in a lot of learning and a lot of study and work for it to last 3 years.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it mirrors the full-time program. It's the exact same program as the full-time program. And I mean, the full-time program is very intense as well, right? They're taking 5 classes in a mini. Our part-time students are taking 2. And so the reality is this is how the full-time program fits in a part-time format. It takes 3 years to get it all in. And I feel like when they created this program, there was a very strong feeling of, this is not going to be a different program. This is going to be the MBA program delivered in a different way.
No shortcuts.
There's literally no shortcuts for this program. It is
which while a lot of executive MBA programs will tell you you get the same curriculum, the same degree. In fact, you don't, because there's no way you put a part-time MBA program in place over 2 years that it equals a 2-year full-time program.
No,
there's no way.
No, it just does. It doesn't. The math doesn't add up, right? You don't have the same number of classes, or right? Yeah, for our program, they're the same. So that's what it takes to get it in there, right? And it's all the same faculty, the same curriculum. They're the same. Most of the faculty that are teaching in our program, particularly in the core, are teaching in the full-time MBA program. They're the same faculty. The students see the same people. And so there was no interest in compromising on the quality of the program. If we're going to do it, it's going to be the same quality program. And as you mentioned earlier, that's also why students can transfer between.
Right.
Because there's no difference there.
And your students enter when?
We only have a fall intake.
Right. One intake a year, unlike a lot of other types of programs that are online. And the other thing is your incoming students go through the core as a cohort, right?
Correct. Yes.
And that's another actually significant benefit to the program that is often a key part of the bonding that occurs in a full-time MBA program, where all of your classes, you see all the familiar faces, you get to know people well, you draw on their experiences and where they work based on the disciplines that they're in. Yes. Which really adds a tremendous amount to the class discussion and the dynamic of a class.
Yes, completely.
Okay, so if I pretended that you were a student,
okay,
Cindy, I asked you, tell me the 3 coolest parts about the Carnegie Mellon hybrid program. What are the 3 things that really resonate with the students?
Yeah. So obviously the access weekends, that would be the first thing 100% they would say. They love the access weekends. And it's interesting, I've been in this job a little over 3 years. And when I first got here, there was some question about attendance to access weekends. Are students coming? So we did a little research. They come. We average like 95% attendance every access weekend. And technically you're required to come. Yeah, technically you're supposed to come, but the reality is they're people on the planet. I can't make you do things, but they don't miss them. They don't miss them because they love them and because they're an amazing experience. They both want to see their friends. They want to participate in the activities. They want to meet the faculty that they're going to have that many. They want to be on campus like that. There's no question. Any student you asked would say it's access weekends. So I think that's number 1. Number 2, honestly, I think they would say, and we've actually asked them these questions before, they would say colleagues. They and I think there's something to be said that we have very high admission standards. And so there's sort of a vetting process that happens there. So they are a very driven, committed, there's a certain kind of student that's willing to go 3 years at a very hard academic program. And so it creates a cohort of very similar people who are very happy to be with one another. And so I think I actually know they will, because we've asked them this, like, what's most important? And they've said, like, these people are great. Like, I'm learning from these people. I can be on a team with them, and everybody puts forth the effort. Everybody's really top quality. I think that if I can go to 3, I'd say 3 would probably be faculty. They really appreciate that we're using the same faculty, that these are top tier, unbelievably smart, professional, teachers, people who are very thoughtful about their craft of teaching. And so they just walk away going, holy heck, that guy was amazing. Not only was he unbelievably smart and talented, but I learned a lot in that class. And so I think that's probably the 3rd thing they'd say that they were most pleased about.
Great. Now, the core takes up what percentage of the programming in the program?
It's around half. It's not exactly half, but it's around half. The core is the entire first year plus the first semester of the second year. Mm-hmm. And then so it's really, it's a little bit, probably if I did percentage wise, a little bit more than half, but because there's some electives in there, but right around there.
Now, typically in many hybrid or online programs, there's very limited selection of elective courses. Mm-hmm. How does that play out at Carnegie Mellon?
We actually have a pretty good selection. I'd say in any given mini, we have 6 to 7 different electives to choose from, which is actually pretty big.
Yeah.
When you think our class sizes are, we don't have huge classes. And then we do a kind of because they're here for 3 years and you are taking electives over 2 of them, we can have kind of a rotating system. So you're not going to see the same 6 this year that you saw last year. Maybe 3 would repeat, but 3 new ones would come along next year so that we can get some variety and some diversity in there. And I think, we have the ability, we're a pretty small program just in general, as far as MBA programs go, right? The full-time program is about 400, but it makes for a small community of faculty and staff. So I can go to a faculty and say, I need you to teach your class next year, right? And we have this one particular class. It's funny. It's called Technology Strategy with Professor Durdinger. It's very popular. And I mean, I would knock on his door every semester. Hey, can you teach this class? And he taught it last year. Everybody took it. It was great. But we have that ability to also react quickly when it comes to electives. Students will say, hey, could we get this class? And we go work on it and see if we can get it in. And so I think there's a fair, given our class size, I think the variety is actually pretty extensive. And we make it possible for students to complete, we have what are called concentrations. And so we do the classes across, in a way that we can make sure that you can get the concentration you want: finance, marketing, operations, organizational behavior, communications. You can get them kind of in the puzzle that we put together. We think very carefully about the puzzle to make sure that in the time that you're going to take electives, you can fit in the classes that you want to get.
And the concentration is typically 3 classes?
3 classes in any particular area. Everybody's required to do at least 1, but you can do as many as you want, but just at least 1.
Now, Cindy, in this COVID era, how are you going to work out access weekends? What are you doing?
Yeah, we've already been doing them. So we started doing them over the summer. So in May, and then again at the end of June, we did it. And then we're planning to do another one at the end of August. We're running all the same sorts of activities, lots of speakers and workshops. We've essentially added more. What we're finding is students, nobody wants to sit in Zoom all day, right? Nobody wants that. So we're essentially running even more speakers and workshops than we would normally do on a Friday, because what we're finding is people are picking and choosing what they go to. So they're not going to go to, so we might offer 8 in a day, but they're only going to go to 4 or 3 of them. They're 1-hour workshops. Yeah. And then what we're working on now is ways to really keep building that community, right? So we do sort of virtual happy hours. We've done virtual game nights. We're now going to launch some things here in the fall that are some networking opportunities to do smaller group kind of coffee chats and connecting people. It's definitely, I won't lie, it's a challenge, right? Like it's much easier to bring everybody to Pittsburgh and have a happy hour and they all stand around and talk to each other, right? Yeah. But we value this so much, like we're working hard to figure out what is the right way to make this happen. Our student government runs a mentoring program. So that's a way to connect incoming students with current students and kind of build those relationships. And we'll do things over our orientation program over the next few weeks to really help connect that incoming group.
What do you do in terms of career management and career development and coaching?
Mm-hmm. So our students have full access to the Career Center, the Master's Career Center. As we said before, there's no wall between the online program and the full-time program when it comes to, well, with anything really, but career. So they have access to everything in the Career Center, including one-on-one career counseling with the coaches. Later in the program, access to all on-campus recruiting resources, just like a full-time student. So if a student's interested in maybe doing an internship, they would work on that in their 2nd year. If they were interested in full-time employment, they'd work on that in their 3rd year. As far as just general professionals, that's really direct career services, right? As far as overall professional development, we do a lot with the students. We do things like our Leadership Center does a series of workshops with them to work on communication skills, to work on leadership skills. They can work one-on-one with coaches in our Leadership Center. We have staff, actual in-house staff that are coaches that students can meet with as often as they'd like. To talk about their own professional development and leadership development. We also run a series, a program for our part-time students called the Tepper Roadmap. We launched this maybe last year. And it's essentially a professional development program for students, really designed for those students who are looking to get promoted and move up in their company, right? If you want to get a new job, that's the Career Center. The roadmap is really about identifying what your goals are. What are you trying to get out of this? What do you need in order to get that? And then what are the resources that we have available to help you get there. So it's kind of a framework to help students think about their professional development and come up with a plan to work on it. It's very personal. I can't make your professional development plan any more than you can make mine, so you make your own. But we kind of walk them through the process and provide the tools for them to do that. And then we have all these workshops and resources for them to use that can help them make that happen.
And when they don't come for an Access weekend or don't experience it virtually, what's the general time commitment per week to take the program over the 3-year period?
I think students would say it's probably in the outside of class. You've got class about 3 hours a week. And I think students would tell you it's probably 10 to 12 hours of work outside of class a week. And I think it's like any MBA program, that's going to vary based on your level of experience, right? If you've got a background in accounting and you're taking the accounting class, you're probably going to spend a little less time than the person who is an English undergrad, who's probably going to spend a little bit more time. But I think on average, we hear about 10 to 12 hours per week.
Right, which is certainly manageable. I mean,
sure.
People who enter these programs have demanding jobs. Often they are required to travel. And with balancing your family responsibilities and your professional life, 10 to 12 hours, yeah, maybe you have to give up a few things.
Yeah, that's
maybe you have to give up a few dinners with friends.
That's
maybe
right.
you can't go golfing or whatever you do, playing tennis all the time.
Exactly.
You can't go on your boat, whatever you're going to do. But it's 3 years, and you have an incredible experience, and you learn a hell of a lot. Now, there's general belief, Cindy, that online or hybrid programs are best for the person you recently described. That is, the person who wants to accelerate his or her career within their own company, or at least within their industry. And that typically it's full-time MBA programs that are better for career shifters who want to basically switch a discipline, an industry, a geography, or all three at once. Do you agree with that? Or because your program is 3 years long, and because you have full access to the Career Management Center that full-time MBA program MBAs have, is it different?
I do think there's way more opportunity with our program because of the resources that are available. We do see, so I was actually looking before our call, and it looks to me like this last year's class, about 30% of our students actually made a career change.
Wow,
they actually it's a big jump. Yeah. And I think
big.
It is, and it's bigger than you would think, right? Like, so, and I think it's about the students. The reality is it's completely possible, obviously. Those students have to be very organized about how they're going to do it. They have to be on it, on top of it. And let's be honest, a career search while you're working, we all know, is a big endeavor. And then you're going to school at the same time, right? So you're essentially trying to make this transition at the same time. And but we have a number of students that have made that transition successfully. I just heard about one yesterday. I was talking to the Career Center. One of a nuclear engineer got a job as an investment banker, which is a huge jump. It's actually fairly amazing that he made. I know. I was like, wow. We were all like, wow, that's amazing.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, I recently heard. I had, and we do have a lot of engineers. So one last year went into he was in an engineering like management role, went into a data strategy role at a bank. Somebody else went into energy, went into a leadership development program in energy. Someone else that was working more in operations went into supply chain. We had someone else that was working in like corporate research, went into a product manager role. So they really do make, and those are kind of, when you think about it, those are the MBA level jobs. People want to be product managers. They want to go into strategy. They want to do that. And as I think about students in the last 2 years, at least, at the very least, just those students that I kind of know the best, they made jumps into all the top MBA companies: Google, Amazon, Tesla, Uber, Apple, Microsoft. Like, they made jumps into really impressive companies from the online program. And I'll be honest with you, I've asked them. I remember the one guy that went to Apple. I was like, any indication like you're in an online program? He's like, no. He's like, Carnegie Mellon. And that guy, frankly, Apple found him. Like they found him, and he's like, it was a lot the brand. Because I asked them, I say, well, what do you think did it? And he's like, honestly, he's like, they found me, and I think the brand like helped a tremendous.
Right.
And so I think our students make a lot of those jumps into those big names that MBAs want. But again, you got to be willing to do the work, right? It's not going to just knock on your door. You got to do the work.
And, obviously career management helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that frankly helps is an alumni network.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about the alumni network for Tepper and whether or not, if you're a hybrid student, are you a second citizen, in that network or not?
Yeah, I haven't heard that that's the case, and I've certainly talked to current students about it. My feeling on the alumni network is because we're a smaller, kind of closer knit program, we tend to be culturally, it's a more collaborative program. Like, it's not a kill or be killed program, just in general, not online, but the MBA at Tepper is just not a sort of, it's kind of a help one another out. It's just the culture. I always say it's a Pittsburgh thing, right? It's just kind of the spirit of Pittsburgh is just not a sort of, kill or be killed kind of culture, but our students tend to be pretty collaborative. And because it's smaller, the groups tend to get pretty close knit. So what I've always heard from our students is if they reach out to an alum, that alum gets back to them, that alum helps them, is happy to meet with, is happy to help with them, whatever that is. I think it's more the culture of Tepper. And so I think our alumni network is very strong. And no, I don't think there's any, oh, you're in the online program. Like, I also think because they know it's the same exact program, right? So these students, you call an alum, and we have faculty that have been here 30 years. They might have had the same professor, right?
Wow.
You don't have some other person they've never heard of, some adjunct that's just been hired last week. They can say, no, I have this professor. Like, well, I had that professor too. And so they can share the experience. And I think it lends credibility when you're talking to the alumni network.
Right. And when you can go to campus,
Mm-hmm.
which we all hope is very soon,
We do.
You're going to see this magnificent building that's very new.
Mm-hmm.
You can peer over Cindy's shoulders and see just the beautiful design, the airiness. It feels, I've been in that building several times, I can tell you. You not only feel like you are in the center of Carnegie Mellon University's campus, which in fact you are, but you're in a building that reflects, tremendous dedication, passion to learning. And you can feel the excitement in that building in the hallways. You really can.
We like it. It's an amazing building. Yeah, that's right.
It's a really great place. You guys did a great job with that new facility. You really have.
Thank you.
So one last question.
Sure.
Is there an ideal candidate for the program? Either by age, by experience, above and beyond the class profile numbers, which we said, or even by intellectual curiosity or career professional goals?
Mm-hmm. So I feel like, we do attract, while we have a fair number of engineers, we do attract a broad cross-section of students, right? While we have engineers, we have people in the humanities. So there's not necessarily an archetype of one of our students, but I do think the common thread, and it sort of fits with everything we talked about earlier, is you really have to be committed to a pretty rigorous academic program, right? You have to be committed to, this is a 3-year program. You're going to come to Pittsburgh 6 times a year. You are going to be worked pretty hard. This is not an easy program, right? This is not a phone and in and we hand you an MBA at the end. This is you're going to work hard, and there's going to be days you wondered why in the world you signed up for this, right? But at the end, nobody ever says, why did I sign up for this? They say, thank goodness I signed up for it. So I feel like that to me is the student that understands the work it's going to take, but frankly, more importantly, understands that it's going to be worth it. Right. Those are the students that are the ones that do well with us, right? That really understand, I want this analytical rigor, right? We're a very quantitative program. I want a program that's going to train me on those skills, and I want to put in that time. I think that's the common thread, whether you're an English undergrad or an engineering undergrad, or you're working in finance or you're working in operations, that stuff is less important. I think it's that big interest in the academic experience that really sets our students apart and makes them successful.
It's also why you guys have done so well in our rankings. Your student satisfaction is off the charts.
Yeah.
So obviously you got a very, very big, happy group of campers in the program, and have had so for several years now.
Yeah, that's right. We are proud of our student population. They're a great group, and they enjoy the program, and we enjoy working with them and making their experience as wonderful as it can be. And I think it comes through. It does come through in the surveys, I think.
Great, Cindy. It's been a pleasure. Really, thank you.
Appreciate it. All
Really enjoyed our conversation, and I can't wait to meet you in person someday when this COVID thing is
right. All
over.
over. That's right.
All right, it's Cindy Mccauley, who is Executive Director of Online Master's Programs at the Tepper School of Business at Carnegie Mellon University. It's definitely an unusual program, a lot of value there. I mean, it really is like an executive MBA program where they put you up for the 16 access weekends in a hotel. You're wined and dined, and the study and the curriculum is very rigorous. This is not an MBA light where you go in and you're rubber stamping your degree and you're learning. This is the real thing. So this is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Thanks for joining us on our Fireside Chat.